Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I am doing a spoiler-free review for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And I just barely watched it. I maybe finished it like an hour ago. And man, I loved it. It's already like one of my favorite movies of all time. And I really like the first one, but man, they really delivered on this next one. I can't wait for the sequel. But, man, they just stepped everything up from the previous one, in my opinion. So first thing I'm going to talk about is the animation, because that's what everyone talks about. With, the release of, Into the Spider-Verse, it just completely revolutionary with the animation. And it's had so much influence. And, in these past, 5 years since it's released, we've already seen it's made a pretty big impact on, animated films just as a whole. And so that's just really exciting. We're getting a lot more creativity. And then with Across the Spider-Verse, man, the animation in Into the Spider-Verse was good, but they just went all out. Because the original style is already so unique, using a mixture of 2D and 3D animation. But then having all the different universes and everything, they just open up the doors to having any style they want. And every single one of them is just amazing to look at, and I can't get enough of it. It's just visually so good. Just from the action scenes, just really well paced, and it just has a nice flow to it and all. And the colors are always so vibrant and stunning in every single shot. As I said before, all the different universes brings up so many different possibilities. And there are some that are just so unique that you wouldn't find this anywhere else. And I just find it so fun that they're really just letting their creativity go wild with this. So that's just something amazing about it. Because, I know everyone already knows it's going to be great visually because of the first one. But just know, they take it up a whole nother level. Not even a whole nother level. A whole nother, 5 levels. It's insane what they do. Okay. Oh, man. I don't know, where to go. I'm good. I guess I'll talk about the general storyline. I don't want to give any spoilers, obviously. I'm doing this completely spoiler-free. I might do, I don't know. So, just the storyline in general, I enjoyed it so much. It's very, I don't know if it's complex in a way, I guess, but it's very easy to follow. And I love what they do with it. I sort of want to also talk about characters, but I'm gonna wait. I don't know. I might just start talking about characters right now, because that's what I'm really focused on. But really, the storyline is just great. I think it's very impactful in a way that I don't think the first one quite was. And I love the first one. The first one is a 9 out of 10 movie. This one's a 10 out of 10, however, because I feel like they just upped everything they could and did an incredible job with everything. Now, characters, that is the main big core of what I think makes this movie so incredible. And, Into the Spider-Verse, I think all the characters, they're really fun, and they were very good. They're very good characters. I think, especially Miles being the main focus, he was a great character and really just enjoyable to watch. And all the characters are fun and all. Now, in Across the Spider-Verse, they take those characters and they just give them so much more depth that they didn't have before. And I think there's a lot more emotional connection where it's not just, oh, I like these characters because they're fun. There's a lot more emotional connection to them. And I think that's a huge improvement. For Miles, he was a great character in the first one. This one, he's just better, and I really liked sort of his progression. He feels a lot more competent in this one and a bit more confident. Obviously still flawed, and that's obviously somewhat of a focus is him just dealing with life stuff. But they also give more attention to his mom and dad, which I think is huge. In the first one, there was a lot of, obviously, a big sort of part of Miles' character was his connection with his dad. And I think it was really well done in the first one. But, you know, going forward, giving that so much more depth is just huge for it. And it makes the emotional connection so much more better when you see the connection between Miles and his dad and, you know, Miles and his mom. I think they gave his mom way more screen time in this one and really fleshed out her character. So she worked really well. So the whole family dynamic is just really great. And you care for the characters instead of just enjoying watching them. You care about them. And then obviously, I think a huge part is what they did for Gwen as a character. In the first movie, Gwen was like, oh, you know, she's cool. She, you know, just sort of in the first one, I guess she wasn't as much of a love interest. But it was like, you could tell that she was sort of supposed to be, but they didn't go into it a whole lot. In this second one, she gets so much screen time, and again, fleshes out her character so much. It's incredible how much they're able to flesh out all these side characters, make you feel for them. Gwen gets a lot of screen time in this movie. I guess if you're not a huge fan of Gwen, you might be sad about that. But if you're not a huge fan of Gwen, I'd say after this movie, you probably will be. I think it's incredible what they can do for, what they did for her character and her, you know, relationship with Miles, who really fleshed that out. And again, just making you feel connected to these characters in a way that I personally didn't feel as much in the first one. I enjoyed them. It's sort of like in the first one, everything I enjoyed, it was just purely from an entertainment standpoint. Whereas in this sequel, I feel more involved. I feel more emotion towards everything going on. Also, to sort of go on with characters, I think the villain/antagonist, all of them are great. I'm not going to go into it too much. I feel like I could get into spoiler territories with what I say, but it is just so enjoyable. Especially just, again, different animation styles with these other characters. I know I'm jumping around. I'm going back to animation, but man, there are just some shots with these characters. I think, like, okay, this is sort of like partly you have to do with visuals, partly to do with the characters, because I think using the visuals to help support sort of big, impactful moments for the characters worked really well in this movie. In the first one, good visuals, but there wasn't as many of those scenes where they really utilized a lot of creativity to create these impactful moments. Still quite a few. It's still a very good movie. But there's just some scenes where they use such great characters to really, great colors to really draw out certain emotions from you and to really emphasize the moment so much more. So the characters are just amazing in this movie. What else do I want to say? It's just an amazing movie. It's like, I don't know. I might have to rewatch the first one, actually. First one, again, I don't want to take anything away from it. It's great. And honestly, on rewatch, I might enjoy the first one more. Sort of understanding that's more of a setup for the second one. But, man, every single character is great. And there are the more sort of side characters that aren't necessarily used to have those big emotional connections, and that's okay. But they are still great in their own ways. I think a big concern for my personal concern was just, you know, with the whole multiverse concept, there's going to be so many more characters, and I was worried it was going to take away from some of the more core characters, and it did in a very slight way. I think, like, Peter B. Parker doesn't quite get as much screen time as maybe I would have liked, but seeing as, you know, there's going to be another movie, I'm okay with that, because this does a great job at really fleshing out the multiverse concept and really just giving you the full scope. It, you know, introduces some more side characters from the other universes, really fleshes them out, and then in the next movie, I'm sure we're gonna get more, obviously, of maybe some of our more core characters. I really want to see more of the, core, like, 5 side characters from the first movie. I think that'd be cool. Like, I forgot, like, Penny Parker, Peter Porker, like the Noir Spider-Man, that main group. I really want to see more of them in the next movie. just because I feel like they were really fun characters that weren't quite fully fleshed out. But man, also for a movie, it's not, you know, too terribly long, but for how long it is, it did not feel like it. It's really well paced, and I don't know, I really like the pacing of it. I've heard some people say it's really fast paced, and that's what they like about it. But I think it does take its time to deliver those more drama focused moments, I guess you could say, where they sort of slow down a bit. And oh yeah, this is one thing I really wanted to talk about: the dialogue. Even if it's not something crazy, but I just really like the flow of the dialogue. I know that's sort of a weird thing to specifically point out, but just simple character interactions were just, I don't know, they felt like they flowed really nicely. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this movie. Incredible animation. I cannot stress that enough, that they do so much more than what you would think. Like, it doesn't matter how high your expectations are, you're going to be blown away. Characters, amazing. They are so much more fleshed out. And I truly, I really like pretty much all the characters. I don't think there's a single bad character, or anywhere close to a bad character in the whole movie. And, you know, animation, or storyline, that's what I want. Again, I think it took, you know, sort of the building blocks from the first one and expand the whole multiverse thing. That's something where I feel like I was sort of, I don't know, I've never been a huge fan of you know, multiverses, multiple timeline type things. But for what they do in the movie, they have fun with it. And they incorporate it into the story really well. Man, I cannot wait for the next one. I don't have anything else to say about this movie. Just please go watch it. I might have to do a, you know, non-spoiler, or spoiler, full of spoilers video about this movie, but I don't know for sure. I have a hard time sorting out my thoughts. It's a great movie. Doesn't matter how high your expectations are. I feel like you're going to be blown away. And man, I cannot wait for the next one. It sets up a whole lot, and I have full confidence that they'll deliver. So anyways, if you liked the video, please leave a like. Tell me your thoughts. If you've seen the movie, tell me your thoughts on it. If you haven't seen it, sort of tell me what your expectations are on it. Or just tell me your thoughts on this video. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. It's a great movie. Please watch it. 10 out of 10. One of my favorite movies. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.